Good morning, one and all present here. I welcome you all to the 104th webinar of the Saturday webinar series by Managed CIA. A quick introduction about our center. The Center for Innovation and Agripreneurship is a center of excellence in agribusiness incubation. It's one of the leading agribusiness incubators in the country, and Managed CIA has mentored 503 entrepreneurs and incubated 310 startups from different focus areas of agriculture and life sector. The topic for today's session, as you all know, is tailoring rural advisory services for farming opportunities. We have two speakers joining us today. Our first speaker for the day is Mr. Amit Sarovi. He's the CEO and founder at Uja Development Solutions. Uja is working at the intersection between clean energy and sustainable agriculture. They provide affordable irrigation, milling, cooling services to smallholding farmers at pay-per-use basis. Mr. Amit holds a master's in international development from Columbia University and a bachelor's in business studies from Sydenham College, Mumbai. He has over 25 years of experience in business consulting. I request Mr. Amit to take over the session. Please note all the attendees can use chat box.
Yes, Janet, you can continue.
Please note all the attendees can use chat box to post their question to the speakers. These will be taken up during our Q&A session. Sir, I'll be sharing your presentation and you can let me know when to move the slides.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Let me start by first saying thank you very much for inviting me. It's an honor to be presenting today and talking to your audience. I'm really happy to share my insights and experiences with the participants today. And also welcome to all the participants. And yeah, thank you for taking the time out, to hear me and the other practitioners who will speak after me. With that, I guess I will start with my presentation. The idea is to give you some flavor of what we do, what is our mission, and what impact we want to create among smallholder farmers. So as you can see on the first slide, it's productive power for smallholder farmers. So just to explain, we work at the intersection of clean energy and agriculture and sustainable agriculture for that matter. Clean energy, why? So farmers also do have a need for energy, right? To run their appliances they use on their farm. Without that, they can't power it. And most Indian farmers, and definitely in the eastern and northeastern part of the country, they heavily rely on diesel-based power, which in the further slides I will talk a little more about what that problem is and how we are replacing diesel-based farming with solar energy. So yeah, we are solarizing the agriculture sector along the entire value chain, upstream and downstream, for different energy needs that these smallholder farmers have. You can move to the next slide, please. You can skip this slide, yeah. This is just a summary of everything I will speak about, yeah. So obviously, its first point is to understand what the problem is. Only then can you solve it, right, or address it, and that also together with the participation of the farmers themselves. So the problem that we identified and had the capacity and the skill to solve is threefold. So we based on desktop research and also in-field primary research as well, we found out that a lot, most of the smallholder farmers, nearly 80% of them are relying on diesel-based, irrigation and milling. So for pre-harvest irrigation for their crops, and then post-harvest agro-processing milling for different commodities, of course. And there are some rough numbers given here. Nearly 30 million bottom of the pyramid farmers are relying on these polluting diesel-based irrigation and milling. So the problem is not just that they rely on this. There are related problems. For example, with diesel-based irrigation pumping, what happens is in the dry season, these are as you can see the machine over there, it looks old, and they become quite efficient pretty quickly and requires a lot of maintenance. They break down every now and then. There's a lot of drudgery involved in carrying them from home to their farm and back. In summer months, actually, because the water tables dip, they can't draw water using these pumps, and therefore they have to dig a pit nearly 5 to 10 feet in the ground. So you can imagine how laborious that is. Then again, they have to go and fetch the fuel for it from the nearby market, which can be at a distance of 2 to 5 kilometers. And lastly, it's expensive because diesel is expensive, and as we know, diesel and both all petroleum prices have been climbing in the recent years. So it becomes really unsustainable for them, which means that they either cannot irrigate sufficiently, or sometimes even they decide not to grow anything in that season if they can't afford these inputs. Because they also have to pay for other inputs like seeds, fertilizers, etc. Right? So it's an added cost. And based on our own assessment and studies, we found out they spend on energy needs for the farm nearly 25 to 30% of the total input cost goes into this, and therefore it becomes really unsustainable, right? So what this does is it leads to, obviously this energy poverty that they have stifles their productivity, which is productivity and yields of their crops. Doesn't allow them to do all the seasons possible. They cannot, sometimes grow the kind of crops they want to grow. They have to rely on, switch to crops that do not require that much water or not water intensive, but that could also then stifle their income. Because for example, if they could grow mentha, which requires a lot of water, the returns are also higher because you can extract oil from it. So yeah, just to give you an example, but this is across the board, right? Then, but then, so the solution is, yes, there are alternatives available. For example, what we are offering, solar, but the high upfront cost of these new technologies is not affordable by smallholder farmers. And how we define smallholder farmers is farmers that have less than 2 acres of land holding. And generally their income would be in the range of about 60,000 INR per year. So roughly about 5,000 per month. So you can imagine that, yeah. And this is despite any subsidies being offered either by the center or state governments, because there's still a component where either they have to take out a loan or bring that money on their own. And these farmers don't have that kind of cash flows. And even if they could get, first, it's not easy to get these loans with all the paperwork, etc., collaterals, and so on and so forth. And secondly, they have to still service that loan. So the loans are not free, of course, there's an interest to be paid, right? So for all of those reasons, it becomes really impossible for smallholder farmers to access new technologies. Similarly with the mills as well, most mills, even though the grid may be present, are still being run on diesel. Because the grid electricity in rural areas is intermittent, the quality is not good, and therefore mill operators still use diesel-based pumping, which means obviously prices are high. It's environmentally not friendly, of course. And lastly, the problem is a lot of farmers and especially smallholders do not have access to any cold storage infrastructure, and this is a problem for horticulture farmers, of course. Because they're growing perishable fruits and vegetables, they will only remain fresh for so long, and that means they have to sell it pretty quickly. And they end up doing what is called stress sales, because if they don't, it will spoil anyway, and they'll have to throw it or have to sell it at very reduced prices, right? And based on literature that is available, we know that in India, nearly 20 to 25% of farm produce gets wasted for lack of access to cooling infrastructure. All right, we can move to the next slide, please. So our solutions, Urja, the company, so we are farming as a service company, which means that what we have, we have an innovative and pioneering business model, which I'll speak about, pay-per-use, which means that we are eliminating any upfront technology acquisition cost barrier for these smallholder farmers. They do not have to invest in any technology, although they will get access to technology through our innovative business model. So they're not buying these pumps, mills, or cold storages. No individual farmer is buying any of this. What the company does is we finance the assets. So we own and operate these assets. So we offer end-to-end service to them. So we will design the system, we'll select the location, we'll form a group of farmers to use these assets, we'll install it with the help of our in-house engineering team. And then we will offer all of these three services on a pay-per-use basis, which means that they basically pay for consumption of the service. So I'll go one by one. The three services, they are all branded differently. The first service is irrigation, irrigation as a service, Unnati. Second is Ujwal, which is milling as a service. And the third is Unayan, which is cooling as a service. So in irrigation as a service, What we do is we deploy the system. It's generally a 5 HP submersible pump using groundwater as its water resource. The system is installed, and then we integrate a flow meter, or what you call a water meter, which allows us to know each time we deliver water to any farmer, how many liters of water was given. And then we basically are selling them this irrigation water and charging them based on a fixed tariff for the volume of water they consume to irrigate their land. Right. And the uniqueness of this is that we price ourselves about 20 to 25% cheaper than what they would have done for the same amount of irrigation using a diesel pump. So there's an economic incentive for them to switch from diesel to solar-based service that we are offering. And given their seasonality of their cash flow, etc., our model is designed in such a way that we collect payments in cash post providing the service when they have that capacity to pay us back, right? So it's generally within the same month, but yes, it's planned according to how they can when and how they can pay to make it easier for them. There is an operator we select. So each pump is used. So there's not one pump for each individual farmer, but each pump is used by at least minimum 15 farmers. Given their land holding is only, less than 2 acres, and on an average, we've seen that it is about 1 acre. And any 5 HP submersible pump is able to serve the needs of about 15 farmers if you aggregate their land holding. And therefore, that's how we came up with that number. And then we select an operator from the community itself. So the operator himself or herself is a farmer, and they do the daily operations, which means switching on and off the pump, rolling out the flexible hose pipe, addressing all farmer issues, using a calendar to schedule who will go first, who will go next, so on and so forth, right? And then the mill itself is integrated with the solar pump. So it's at the same location as well. The idea behind this is not to install it separately so that we can use the same, PV, the solar panels, because anyway, energy is being generated and pumps are not used throughout the year, which means that they're not used all of the 365 days of the year. They would be used, somewhere between 200 and 250 days. So the days when pump is not running, the mill can run. So it becomes a complementary service for them. And they're using, it's a multi-purpose pulverizer, and you can process quite a few different things: wheat, rice, all kinds of spices, chili. And these are households that live around that, in that village and around that area, who come and process their, commodities at the mill. Similar model, pay-per-use. They're not buying this mill from us. They are basically just coming and, getting it processed, and we charge them per kg of produce processed. The same operator who's managing the mill, the irrigation pump, also manages the mill. Thirdly, the cooling service. It's again cooling as a service, which means they're not buying the cold storage. It's a 5 metric ton, which means it has a capacity for 5,000 kgs of produce, both, all kinds of vegetables, perishable vegetables, all kinds of fruits can be stored all together. As you can see in the photo, it's stored in these crates, blue crates. And each crate can hold up to, about 25 to 30 kgs of produce, depending on obviously the kind of produce, how bulky or not it is. And again, here we are offering and selling them space inside this cold room. So they pay per crate per day basis. And here we have a little bit of a tiered pricing. So if you store for longer, you pay a little bit less than if you store, for a shorter period. So what this allows them to do is, of course, not do a stress sale. If the prices have dropped, they will store it with us. And then, after a few days or a week or several weeks, that's when they will take it out and then they will sell it and fetch a higher price. And so obviously what they pay us should be less than the difference in the price they will get, right, when they sell. That would only then they will gain something by storing with us, right? Again, this is operated by an operator, who's based over there, that helps them, weigh their produce, put it inside the cold room, take it out, and so on and so forth, and identify which is their produce through a tagging system that we use. And these are the three, service offerings that we are, giving smallholder farmers in rural India. Our operations are currently in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar in 7 or 8 districts now. And we are obviously in an expansion mode. All right, I guess we can move on to the next slide. I kind of already went through this business model. So why this business model is, something you should look at carefully. It's very inclusive. So these are farmers that most other interventions are not reaching, or even government programs are excluding, in their agenda. Even if they were meant for them, they're just not reaching them. One, awareness is very little among these farmers, and they just don't have that connection or the wherewithal to, garner the subsidies available. And, reasons I gave you earlier why those subsidies still don't work for a majority of them. Our pricing is cheaper. Like I said, we price ourselves cheaper than any alternative available in the market. So it's affordable. And then it's reliable because we have feet on the ground. We have our team on the ground, which is in constant connect with these farmers, almost on a daily basis. So if there is any problem, any malfunction, our endeavor is to fix it within 2 or 3 business days, so that, yeah, they get the best, most outstanding service that's possible. And yeah, the model itself I already went through. So yeah, we can skip to the next slide. So what is the benefit to the customer from this, right? There is a direct cost saving because we are cheaper than the alternative. And then it is linked to their own cash flows. It's usage based, so they don't have to pay anything upfront, or yeah. So when they use the service, that's when they pay, and this can be staggered according to their use. For example, the irrigation cycle for any one crop will be over a period of the entire season of, let's say, 3 months, right? So each time they do, they will pay. So they don't have to pay upfront, at the beginning of the season, or yeah. So that helps them as well in planning their cash flows. Uh, and then, of course, it is convenient, like I explained with diesel pumps. There's a lot of drudgery involved, and even for milling, they have to walk long distances to the market and so on and so forth. And especially in milling, the women bear the brunt because they are generally in charge of going and processing food. So it also, idea is also to integrate women's empowerment throughout our processes as well. So there's a 95% uptime. They save time, which they can then use in, further, attending to their farm, or even other, their daily work. And sometimes they also then find the time to, earn a supplemental income by doing labor work other than just farming, right? And what we also offer is complimentary free advisory. So we have agronomists on the team as well. The idea behind this is, besides these 3 core services, we can help them also build their capacity. So yeah, then they can also, move to more high value crops, do more seasons than they were doing before, and so on and so forth. And basically, generally better have better agricultural practices. Yeah, so that's an additional service we offer. As you can see just below that, within a year, we have already seen from an impact perspective, nearly 20 to 50% of increase in crop yields, depending on obviously different kinds of crop. In some cases, it will be 20%, other cases 30, 40, 50. And then also increase in income, both derived from savings plus the additional yield they are getting, and then they can sell that excess produce and make more income. All right, we can move to the next slide. So operations model, so it would not be viable for the company to, just install one pump or one mill in one particular village or one community or area. So the operation model is that we use a cluster model, which means that, so typically the average size of these villages is about 100, 120 households. And given they hold about, on an average 1 acre of land holding, so you're looking at, anywhere between 100 to 150 acres of land holding. And like I said, one pump is able to irrigate about 20, 25 acres, which means we try and install 4 solar pumps in the same village to cover the entire village. So all of that 100 and 150 acres could be irrigated. Not everyone becomes a customer, but yeah, if they see the benefit, and sometimes in the beginning, they may not become our customer when we are signing up, but when it's pretty apparent and evident to them, there are lots of benefits of joining this scheme. That's when they will join us as well. So we do 4 solar pumps. It reduces our, operations cost as well, because the same operator can then handle all of these assets, and we don't have to, hire 4 different operators to do this. And then, like I said, even people on our field team, technicians, business development, sales and collections agents, and so on and so forth, we can optimize how many do we need on the team if we are doing in a cluster model. Okay, we can move to the next slide. This is the target market. The market is huge, of course. So I won't get into details of this. As you can see, total addressable market is nearly 46 billion US dollars combined for all of these, different services that we are offering. And yeah, so which means there is a lot of scope to grow, and not only for us, more players to come in and offer these services, using the entire farming as a service model, which, we already seeing good results, and therefore, we would obviously hope that others will also replicate what we are doing so that we can together, collaboratively reach many more farmers and improve their lives and livelihoods. All right, next slide, please. Again, these are some competitors, some people who are doing not exactly the same model, but similar model as well. Or in some cases, they have, what is called energy mini grid. So they have like a 20, 30 kilowatt mini grid. They're generally powering homes and shops, etc. But then they also allow farmers to, use their electricity to connect to their mini grid and, provide irrigation and milling, etc. But they don't then charge them for the water or the milling service, but for the energy that they use. Okay, next slide, please. That's our team. Yeah, I'm not going to. So I'm co-leading the team with my co-founder Clementine Chambon, who's London-based, and she's the technology in charge. I handle most of business development, strategy, and operations. And then we have other talented, qualified people handling different functions, of course. As we grow, we keep adding more and more. Actually, the most important people in this slide you see is on the right-hand side bottom. Those are our operators who are from those communities, and they are farmers themselves. So yeah, without them, this would not be possible. So yeah, we obviously, really, value what they are doing to make this work. Okay, next slide, please. This is some of the traction we've gained since we started. So we, really, after having done lots of market studies and, surveys and focus group discussions in the field, understanding the pain points of the customers, and yeah, then coming up with a solution. And that too, together with their participation using something called design thinking methodology. We started in late 2018. Of course, there was this period hit by COVID as well, which slowed us down a little bit. And now we picked up pace again. So as you can see, we are present in 7 different districts. We have 80 active projects now. We've reached about 12,000 beneficiaries so far. We've created rural jobs through these operators in the villages. And on the right-hand side, so, the mission is threefold. Of course, savings and increase in income for the farmers, increase in the productivity, savings, food waste saving from the farm by giving them storage facility. And then lastly, also, we come from a climate perspective as well. So yeah, emissions saved by replacing diesel with solar. So yeah, and if you look at it more largely, it is, food, helping with food security, energy security, and then improving the lives and livelihoods of the most marginalized. And as you can see on the right-hand side, sorry, just if you can go back. Yeah, the increase in income, the decrease in, energy costs for them. So all that is apparent that it is yielding result, and which means that we should continue, growing and offering this service. Yeah. Okay, we can move to the next slide. I don't know how much time do I have. If you can warn me how many
Sir,
minutes are.
we can do one thing, sir. We'll continue the presentation of the next speaker. At the end, we can take combined QA. Some
Okay, sounds
questions
good.
are
Yeah.
there with me. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Zenith, you can invite the next presenter.
Um, our next speaker is Ritesh Safyan. He is the Chief Financial Officer at Grow It India. Along with him, we have Mr. Faisal Saeed joining us. Uh, so Grow It India is the agriculture arm of Alpha Plastomers and is into manufacturing advanced and innovative products that ensure optimal quality and yield for the Indian agriculture and farming industry while lowering the carbon footprint. Ritesh sir and Faisal sir, you can take over the session. I'll be presenting your presentation.
Thanks a lot.
So you can hear us, right?
Yeah, we can hear. It's completely audible. I hope
I'm
I'm also.
presenting. Meanwhile, you can.
So shall I start till the time you are presenting? Sure. So, hi, I'm Ritesh over here. As introduction given by, I am the CFO of the Grow It India Private Limited. Along with me is the sales head of Grow It India Private Limited, Mr. Faisal, who looks into the sales of on-field and off-field and on-field both. So, starting about what is Grow It, this is the first introduction site there where we are doing first direct to farmer protective farming agri-tech company we are representing as of right now. Can you move to the next slide, please?
Ritesh ji, can you be little louder?
Sure, I'll be more louder right now. So, as you people can see in the slide that the agriculture is the primary source of livelihood, which is about 58% of the Indian population. The share of agriculture, that is the share that is of the agriculture as of right now. And the GAV of the Indian current is stood to 7.8% for the financial year 2020. About 30 to 35% of the annual crop yield in India get wasted because of the pest. Now, why that is happening? It is happening because of lack of farming techniques among the farmers that leads into the decline in the per capita productivity of the land and hence resulting in low farmer income. What we are doing, so this is the thing that we have identified. And what is the problem statement? Can you go to the next slide, please? The problem statement that we are trying to address over here is the main is low yield per hectare. Now, why the low yield per hectare? As I have mentioned on the side, the reason coming up over here because there's a lack of farmer techniques and the farmer doesn't know what is the best way of doing the farming. They are just forming the traditional way of farming. That is why there is a low yield per hectare and many of the farms are getting crops are getting wasted because of the pesticides what they are using as of right now. So the problem statement that we have identified the low yield per hectare. So India per hectare is 1/5 of the global average. Malnutrition in India is to 2 to 7 times higher than the other members countries. The decreasing per hectare for the farmer, the low income for the farming is increasing migration for the workers from rural area to the urban area because there is low, so the people are migrating over there. Now, 20 to 29-year-old population in rural India has decreased from 34% to 14% in last 14 years. So the solution what we have come across is increasing the yield per hectare. Now, can we go to the next slide, ma'am? So there are basically three solutions. The first solution is the seeds and the fertilizer. So in this case, we have already seen various startups coming up like Dehat, Big Heart, and Agri, who generally provide the seeds and the fertilizer to the farmer. The second is the precision farming. The precision farming help us in giving some kind of a tech base, which are cropping, gramophone, and fossil. And the last stage where it can help is the protective farming. Now, the protective farming is what that control the climatic conditions surrounding the plant body and natural man-made products. So, we are the first startup who is coming up with this kind of a product, which is Grow It India Private Limited. So, to reduce, to basically to increase the yield per hectare, these are the only three solutions. And from the protective farming, we are the first company who is coming and providing this solution as of right now. Moving ahead to the next slide. So, just giving you the brief introduction to Grow It India. Grow It India is a leader manufacturer of protective farming. Grow It India innovate a product that improve the farmer productivity, quality, and increase the farmer income. I will just wanted to give you the last average run rate of the last year is 20 crores. Till September, we have achieved a target of 10 crores, and the projection for this financial year is we are looking for somewhere around 50 crore. Next slide, ma'am. The Grow It products and the benefits. Can you go to the next slide, ma'am, where we have listed the products? Yeah, we have given about what are the various range of the growth products. One is a primary product and another is a secondary product. So the growth products are basically the mulch film, the fruit cover, the banana bunch cover, the crop cover, and the plant cover. Now all these products have various own benefits. It going into the particular stage. Now each product well, the mulch film is the starting stage, and the other are the supplementary to it. If these have been added in the farm, it will increase, it will help us in more in the farm way, which would be run in the subsequent slide and would be better taken up by my team member Faisal over here. Going to the next slide. These are again some pictures of our products like AgriTech, crop support net, AgriWire, plastic clip, and the fiber sticks. So Faisal, inputs about. Sure. Yeah, so I'm just giving it to Faisal and then I'll come back again once.
Hi everybody, this is Faisal here, and I'm taking care of sales currently with Growth India Private Limited, online and offline both. So if we can skip up back to the first product slide if it is possible. The previous slide, one more.
This slide or previous
Yes.
slide, sir?
No, this one.
No,
Right.
this. Okay.
So currently when we are talking about products, so we have certain options as Mr. Ritesh has stated related to the problems of the farmers. And currently the major issues, if you go through into the market, those issues are related to yield, right? That if you count as per the year-wise also yield and crop-wise also yield, so the yield are getting decreasing day by day due to the reason of soil fertility and due to using products in terms of market which are currently like mulch films of other companies or a low graded quality products, right? So here when I'm trying to explain it to you of my products, so we have a set of products which we have divided into two parts. One is primary and another one is secondary. So talking about the primary products like mulch films, crop covers, fruit covers, bunch covers, plant covers, then agri wire, agri thread, fiber stick, crop support net, plastic clips. These are the major and the most used products by the farmers currently in the market in terms of protective cultivation. So we'll talk about the secondary one. The secondary one are majorly nets, vermibeds, and grow bags, which are majorly used in nurseries and housing areas. Right. So can you skip to the next slide, please? Right. So I'll give you a very short brief about these products, that what exactly it does and how it is going to help to the farmers. Like majorly, if you talk about Grow It, so Grow It India Private Limited has a very simple and a plain motto to work in terms of farmer benefits. That if we talk about the only motto, that how to increase the farmer yield. Now, when we are talking about an increasing yield, so we have made our products, which are, happy climate control products related to any other products of plastic culture. Our products are made from 100% virgin materials, then UV reflected products, UV stabilized, then sulfur resistant products. Each and everything we have thought about before making this or manufacturing these products. So when we are talking about mulch, so if you can go into the market and you'll be able to get a range of mulch between 800 to 1200, 1500, 2000 rupees ranges of mulch. All right. But at the end of the day, what happens after using those products? So if you'll be able to see the mulch gets towed out and small pieces of this plastic gets mixed into the soil. So automatically what will happen due to the chemical residue, it will start losing the fertility of your soil. So for an example, before an year, if a watermelon crop has been sowed by the farmer, so he's getting a 10 tons of yield from 1 acre. So after the soil fertility issue, if it is decreased, so it will automatically reduce up to 1 or 2 tons. So again, that's a part of loss for the customer or for the farmer. All right, so we have made certain products like our mulch films are UV resistance, sulfur resistance, and in fact, into the market, if you talk about for mulch films particularly, people are selling in microns, people are selling in weights, in terms of weights, but we have stated it very clearly and we are selling the mulches as per the crop. Like we have set certain standards in our mulch, like grow 3, grow 6, grow 9, grow 12, 18. Like somebody is doing 90 days crop, so he can go for grow 3. And the major part is for mulch that we have, that is we also do buybacks. Like in case of farmer has used the mulch, has completed the use, if he's going to remove it properly, so he can give it back to us, and we are going to pay him certain set of amount in terms of credit points or credit notes or any point of time, we are going to pay him back. Along with that, if we talk about our mulches, those are basically UV resistance, sulfur resistance, and along with that, if you talk about that, our mulches are made with 100% virgin materials. And going on to next, fruit covers, banana bunch cover, crop cover, plant cover. These comes from a similar range of products because all are non-woven material, breathable cloth, UV resistance, and again multiple time used by crop by the farmer. Like if you talk about banana bunch cover especially, so currently if you might have seen into the some of the fields, people have started using plastic covers, right? But I don't know what the GSM exactly they use, but once they have started using the plastic covers, once it comes in interaction with the banana skin, so if you'll be able to notice that when you buy banana from the market, you will be able to see the black patches on banana. That is the only reason where the farmers are getting lower rates because of those particular black patches, and those black patches are due to that plastic cover. So when we have tried using this non-woven covers, this non-woven covers has given such a good results in terms of very clean and spotless bananas, and the farmers have received good amount of money when they're selling it this into APMCs or any other markets. Right. Along with that, when we are talking about plant cover, so this is one of the best products and one of the best helping products to farmer in terms of like it is specially used in banana plants and papaya plants. So the mortality ratio, if you talk about due to sunburn, the mortality ratio is 30 to 40% of the farmers, right? So when they are applying, when they are putting up plant cover, so the mortality ratio decreases up to somewhere around 30-35%. So logically, out of 100, without using plant cover, the 30 to 40 plants died due to sunburn. But after using this plant cover, minimum 10 to 15 plants have been, on a mortal ratio of due to sunburn. If we are talking about crop covers, so crop covers, we have again a non-woven material. It is basically used for microtunnels, and these are going to control the climate of the particular plant. And as per the, these are majorly used in the initial stage of flowering, and at the time of pollinations, you have to remove this, and again you can put it. So this is going to cover each and every part of your plant, from the aerial till the stem and till the root plant also, and it is going to give you a superb climate. Can we stick on to next one? Okay. Agri thread, again, one of the best products, very high strengthful thread, which is majorly a comparison with Sutli that currently farmers use. Crop support net. So this is one of our best products, crop support net. It can be used for 2-3 times. So it is again going to save the cost of the farmer. All right. And agri wire, it is the comparatively, it can be used against GI wires and very economic price. And along with that, if you talk about plastic clips, this is one of our innovative product that again and again farmer don't have to, again remove the total area of micro tunnel, but he can simply, get the crop cover upstairs with the help of this this plastic clip. Second, if you are talking about the fiber stick, so it is again a comparison with iron rods and wooden rods. So again, this is one of the best products which has a life cycle of 10 years. So the farmers again is going to save a very good cost when he's trying to make up with any microtunnels. Next, please. Okay, so moving forward to
Thanks a lot, Faisal, for giving us a brief understanding about all the products. Taking forward ahead, so as you have understood about the product range, so I'll just give you what are the benefits out of these products. It will help in preventing the soil erosion. It reduces the pesticide uses. It reduces the water uses. Reduces the soil sanity into it. Yield is increased to 40 to 100%. We will show you the example of the yield increase in the previous slide, how it is happening. Reduces the weed growth. That is one of the important thing that is happening with our products, and growth, the white root on the surface. Now, all this thing I can show you in the upcoming slide with the facts which is happening in the field. So you people get more idea about our product range, how they are beneficial to the farmers. Moving ahead to the next slide, please. Now, when you talk about the market size of this particular thing, the total market size of the global market is $15 million, out of which the Indian market is a $6 million. And at a growth, we are just targeting the 10% to by 2030, which is like $0.6 million. So we have a huge market that needs to be catered as of right now. Currently, our footprint, we are present at 4 states, which is Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, excuse me, and MP. We are having a team size of 125 plus. We are 15,000 plus happy farmers, and we have opened at least 140 franchisee on board as of right now. Next slide, please. Now, we have just tried to make a competitive analysis that who are the competitors who are into the same field. So we can understanding with the digital market, we have only AgriPlast who is there along with me. On the online selling, currently there is no one as of right now who does online selling for our the products. Currently, we have come with a concept of demo plots where our products are displayed at a franchisee people or the dealer's place, where the farmers can come over there and they can visualize how our products are functioning in the field level. The franchisee model which we are following currently, none of our competitors are working in a franchisee model as of right now. Hub and scope distribution model, again, we have opened a CNF across all the 4 states, and within the 4 states in multiple cities also. We are opening the CNF centers, which ensure that a delivery should happen within 48 hours or within 24 hours as required. Then awareness platform is already catered over there. How the awareness has been done. So we are only 2 people on board as a competitor. And the brand awareness, there are many people, we are doing it. And we have a very strong agronomist team where they give the training and education over the telecalling, even to the field level. Also, the people go and help them in providing the benefits out of it, how the product can be used and how it can be lean also. The next slide. Now, what are the major USP of the Grow It India Private Limited? When we have launched this product, we have earlier done 2 years of R&D completely into it before launching Grow It India also, because we are backed by Alpha Plastomer Plastomer Private Limited, which the founders, the company was incorporated Alpha Plastomer in 1958, and these 1989. I'm sorry about that. And these people are from the beginning only, they were into plastic and don't know plastic very well. They have done various kind of innovation into the plastic. Earlier, they were into the PP bags. They have come into the introduction of the pure film, shrink film. They have they were at a part of PET bottles also. And now, currently in Grow It, we are doing something in plastic which is going to help to the farmers. This is the one line which they are working, and the another line, there is another line we are working on the EVA sheet also. So they have so much of engineering into the plastic, they can build any kind of a plastic film which can be helpful to the people around us. Second, the USP is the franchisee model which we are working upon. So how we are dealing, we have a CNF center, and at the CNF center, we are opening a franchisee. So all the farmers come to the franchisee, and from there, the sales are happening over there. Now, every franchisor, we are, as we talked about that, we are opening a demo farm at each taluka level, who are ultimately a franchisee. So this particular model, so we are going deep root down to the taluka level to make sure that the products are sold very properly, because when we have started the Grow It, we have found that it should happen to the dealership. So now what is happening, since the farmers are uneducated, so the dealer just wanted to sell their products of any company. They said this product is much better and you can buy it. They don't know the complexity at what season, at what crop, which kind of mulch is required to be placed over there. Third, which Faisal already mentioned, that we are doing the buyback of the products which the mulch films are laid down, because if the mulch films are laid down in the farm, they need to be removed. So many farmers are uneducated again over there. They are generally burning the films, which is again hampering the environment over there. Secondly, the mulch film, if they are not removed from the farm, it will get lay in the soil, and which reduces the soil's fertility also. And lastly, we are giving the guarantee full replacement in case there is a manufacturing defect. So if the people have laid the film and if there is a film get torn in the farm, so our team simply goes and check if there is a manufacturing defect, we give a 100% replacement without asking no any questions. So these are the major USP which the Grow It is working as of right now. Can we move to the next slide?
Sir, we will take questions. Only 15 minutes are left. We'll
Yeah,
take
I'll just
couple of
wrap it up in
questions.
10 minutes. Give me 5 minutes. I'll just finish in 5 minutes. Just give me 5 minutes.
Sorry, sir, I didn't get you. Can you repeat again?
Can you just give me 5 minutes? I will just try to close in 5 minutes.
Okay, because we have to take questions from both the speakers. That's the reason, sir.
So just give me 5 minutes. I'll just
Because
wrap it up.
sharply we have to wind it up by 12. Yeah. We'll take a couple of questions, sir.
Sure, fair enough. We can take the question.
Yeah. So this question is for Mr. Amit Sarovi.
Yeah, sure. Tell me.
Sir, according to you, whether only equipment rental model will work or not? This question is specifically because we have a lot of startups applying for funding scheme at Manage under RKVY-RAFTAAR. They have this issue. They just go with equipment rental model as their business model. What do you think, sir? Whether it will work for sustainability of a startup?
Yeah, it will work, but of course there have to be certain mechanisms in place to make sure, yeah, you have to do a lot of resource planning. You need to know your cash flows, you need to know your burn rate. You have to be aware of what kind of capital is required, how you're going to deploy that capital, when will the recovery happen. So yes, you have to manage the company really well. The corporate governance has to be very, very effective. Your books have to be very effective for not to fail. But otherwise, yes, if all of those components are put together well, and the business is run and managed properly with talented, effective people on the ground, yes, it will. And we are already seeing success and attracting a lot of investor interest, and yeah, both domestically and internationally. And based on that, yes, I can confirm that I'm pretty confident this model is here to stay and grow. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay. The next question is for Mr. Ritesh.
Yeah.
Sir, we see that most of the farmers doesn't have instant access to finance when we ask them to take equipments on a rental model or a subscription model. They don't have access to instant finance. So how do you overcome this challenge, sir, from the company point of view?
If we talk about the finance over here on the equipment part, obviously there are many NBFCs people who are providing the funding. Now the product which we are dealing with is a protective farming. These products is, generally they are sold on the cash basis only, because if the farmer comes, there is no kind of credit which is being given to the farmers. Obviously, when they talk about any kind of equipment when they are purchasing, obviously at that time the farmers need a credit into that particular front, and the credit is provided by the various NBFCs which are working upon it. Because if a farmer side which we are looking into is only if they have to place a product into the 1 acre of land, the cost they are incurring over there is only 20,000 acres, 20,000 rupees only. So nowadays the farmers are so much well known and they are aware of it. If they put this particular thing, what is the savings they are having, because ultimately their cost is getting reduced and their income is getting, because the products are help us in increasing their productivity also. This could have been shown in the next upcoming slide. Not an issue, but that is how we are giving the benefit analysis completely to your farmer, where they can see whatever the cost they are incurring, and if they use our product, ultimately there is a replacement cost, and with that replacement cost, they are getting their income double out of it. So now your question which you have asked about is the rental of the equipment parts. So generally we are not into the equipment sector as of right now. Yeah, but there are various NBFCs who are providing the funding to the farmers for this rental equipment parts.
If I can quickly add to what Ritesh said, yeah, because we obviously deal with equipment and capex, etc. So yeah, there are besides NBFCs, there are also microfinance institutes. For example, Rangde is doing really good work with end user financing. So yeah, there are quite a few options available to farmers. And then there is a new which hasn't really been introduced in India in a big way, but in Africa it works, which is called PayGo. So yeah, the provider of the equipment itself, finances those equipment and recovers over, period of 18 months to 2 years. So some sort of an EMI system as well. Yeah, just to add to that.
So what is the ideal credit period, sir?
It'll differ from, the appetite of different institutions. But yeah, in my knowledge, we've seen anything between, depends on the kind of financing product as well, and who the institution behind it is. And yeah, if there is any collateral available or not, anywhere between, 3 months to 18 months. Yeah.
Okay. So another important challenge that I see is many farmers are not aware of the technology aspects, implements. And again, the language differs from one region to another region. So as a company, how challenging it was for you to convince the farmers with the modern farming equipments and also convincing them about your services in their local languages.
So in our case, at least, we are still working only in the Hindi belt, so UP and Bihar. Of course, there are local dialects. And yeah, that can also make a difference in, getting their confidence. So a lot of our field people are actually folks hired from those regions. So they already speak the same language. They themselves have farming backgrounds or their families. So they understand the context and the geography, and they have the language skills to, yeah. So we are not trying to, export people from big cities for the field jobs.
To add on from our side, we have all the local language people on board at the field level also and as a telecaller team members also. So if any calls come from a specific state, the calls are diverted to them over there. And the field members also who are there are the localized member only over there from that particular region and from that particular taluka, who knows that thing and who can able to connect to the farmer very easily. So we are having the on-field team and telecaller team or the both same localized language. So it is very easy for the farmer. The communication happens in a very faster way, and they understand. We understand what they're trying to say, and they also understand what we are trying to convey to them. So obviously, with this kind of a team, we are able to go well, and we are able to communicate with the farmer in a very well manner.
Okay, thank you, sir. This is a common question for both the speakers. With both the presentation, like what I could understand is you are addressing the three important main points. That is, one is related to farm mechanization, another one is related to crop advisory, and the third one is about market access or market linkage for the farmers. So apart from these three, what other pain points that you see from the farmer's perspective?
Ritesh, you want to go first?
Yeah, not an issue. The pain point that we are looking from the farmer perspective is they are a little bit less educated enough. See, what experience we have gained from the last 3 years, when we have meet to the farmers at a ground level, what we have understood, when they go to any kind of a shop to buy the product, they themselves doesn't know which product they need to buy. That is the biggest challenge we have faced. So what does happening with the shopkeeper, they simply tell where they are getting the huge discount or huge benefit from the company, they are promoting that kind of a particular product. However, our mission and objective is not to promote facility. Our objective is to help the farmer who can basically increase their income. So when we have opened our franchise at the taluka level, our team member is also visiting over there, and our state managers are visiting over there. So any kind of a farmer who are coming up, first the education is given to the franchisee, and if any farmer comes up over there, the demo plots are there, so all the products are displayed over there. So they just try to connect over there. If they're using the product of Grow It India, what benefit they're going to see. Because what we believe, once the people see from their sides, from their own eyes, the benefit will be coming out, and they can realize, yes, if this farm is getting benefited. Because once they put a product over there, and one side they in the half acre land they do not place our product, so they can see the difference in the productivity and the yield in front of their eyes. So that is how we are able to addressing the farmers in that particular fashion over there.
So yeah, to add to what Ritesh said, of course, yeah, the one challenge, of course, is access to good inputs or quality inputs. Like he was also saying, sometimes they're not aware of all the varieties available, and they may not be buying the most high yielding seeds, and therefore suffering from low crop yields because of that. Some other challenges that we have, experienced with our customers, going beyond what we offer, is things like weather alerts, lack of access to satellite data or things like that. So if they can be informed beforehand, about drought conditions or flooding conditions, then they can take appropriate measures, right? So making them more climate resilient. So yeah, there are not enough organizations offering that kind of service yet. And again, then thirdly, of course, access to credit, not easily available all the time, and it can be a lot of paperwork and stuff like that. So yeah, those are some other challenges that we have identified in the field.
Okay. So participants, if you have any questions to be asked directly to the speakers, you can raise your hands so that we can unmute you. Any participants who would like to ask direct questions to the speakers? Please raise your hand. There is an option. And click on that. Okay. Till we get any response from the participants, I have one more question, sir. So definitely there will be difference in the way the farmers pursue your services, the way they look at your services, especially farmers from semi-urban or semi-rural places. Because what happens, some of their daughters or son are engaged in higher education related to technology, and they may have better idea, better understanding of what services you're offering. So that becomes easy for them to convince their parents. So have you encountered any such cases, sir? Any real life examples that you can share with us?
Ritesh, you want to go first again?
Yeah, you can, sir. You can.
Okay, so in my case, so we actually work in very rural settings. Yeah, so not peri-urban or even, yeah. But we have not cases of where younger, family members are actually, they're all migrating out of these villages. It's difficult to even keep them there, and I understand why. But we've had cases of people migrating back to the villages, and especially during COVID, this happened. And yeah, and we've been able to hire them as operators of our assets and systems. So yeah, that was a positive story. The other thing to add is, yes, younger family members, the youth and the family, they have access to smartphones, etc. So yes, they are then able to advise their older parents who are engaged in farming with yeah, all these online platforms that are available that Ritesh also touched upon, DHeart and Cropin and so on and so forth, whether it's for pest control or weather control, weather alerts and so on and so forth. It's not widespread in, at least in the geographies we are seeing. I'm guessing in the West it should be more prevalent, Maharashtra, Gujarat, etc. But yeah, UP, Bihar is still lacking in access to these kind of technologies. Yeah. So that's my input on this.
Okay, sir. Thank you. We have Dr. B.K. Singh, one of the participants of today's webinar, has raised his hand for asking questions. Dr. B.K. Singh, you can unmute yourself and ask the question, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
We can
hear you well.
No, just now, Mr. Sarovi, I think, mentioned there is no weather advisory service. I just like to state that recently Manage has awarded us weather. So that I wanted to bring to the notice of the panelists, because that's such a clock for the farmer registers with us with an app called Fasal Salah. That's what I wanted to mention.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Singh. That's good to know. Yeah, we can definitely advise our customers to look up your app.
Okay, we have one more participant, Surabhi Kumar. Please unmute yourself, sir.
Hello. Yes. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, ma'am.
Please go ahead.
Yes. A very nice. Congratulations for creating such sharing experience and knowledge-based webinar. Actually, I am mentoring various agri startups, which falls under AICTE, which is a regulatory body of MHRD. Now, while mentoring, we convert those agri startup into a proper venture. Presently, one of our venture is already ready. They are manufacturing IoT devices from farm mechanization to help these farmers to save water and increase the yield, by using the sensors and all. So, we would like to take everybody's advice here, how we can raise capital for, establishing their factory. Now, we already have a lot of orders from various FPOs, various state governments, NABARD's FPOs, UP state governments, and a lot of people are coming forward to buy that IoT device.
Ma'am, if I can try and address that a little bit based on our own fundraising efforts. For something like building a factory or capex, generally you would look for debt finance. Yeah, and you'll have to look at debt finance more domestically than international, because there are certain RBI guidelines that make it very difficult to bring debt finance from outside India. So yeah, you already connected to some of the right institutions like NABARD, you said. Another one you can look at is KfW. They have a partner. It's a German, debt finance institution, but they have a partnership with an Indian, entity. So they are also giving some, concessional loans for, in this sector. Yeah, so that's another, organization you can look at. There's also Manvinia, if I'm correcting them, yeah, spelling their name correctly. Yeah, so those are other institutions that might be interested in something like what you're talking about.
Okay, thank you. We are at the end of today's webinar. I thank both the speakers, Mr. Amit Sarovi, Ritesh Safyan, and also Faisal Saeed from Growit India, for giving the insightful session and answering all the questions relevant to the topic. The feedback form for this webinar has been shared in the chat box. So I request all the participants to fill it. And the contact details of the speakers also has been shared. If you have any additional questions, you can reach out to them or email. And MoA&FW has launched Agri Eureka, a national level Agri Innovation and Business Challenge program for innovators and agripreneurs. So you can apply for that. The last date to apply for Manage Agri Eureka is 15th October. And we have shared the details of our social media handles and link to our websites, where you can go through the upcoming programs. You can register for pre-incubation program, as well as digital marketing training program. So I thank everyone for spending their valuable time to attend this webinar. Thank you again.
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
Thank you.